We got our fancy shirts on. That's right. The Saints are coming to town. We got some updated record predictions. We got a huge guest, Moose Johnston, on the show. Adam Jahns on a Thursday. Where else would you want to be? The CHGO Bears Podcast starts right now. Good afternoon. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast, the place to be on your Bears weekly schedule. 1 o'clock on this beautiful Thursday Central Time if you're watching live. And we are proudly presented by our friends at Bet365. Never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app. Use that code CHGO365. You get $200 in bonus bets after you deposit $10 and make your first $5 bet. I love our friends at Bet365. And Gregory, I love you because I'm in a great mood today, buddy.
That's great.
You look fantastic as always.
Thank you.
And,
you look like Michael Scott.
Excuse me?
You look like Michael Scott.
Is that a compliment?
Yeah. When they had the launch party, you look like Michael Scott.
Okay. I mean, I put on my fancy shirt today. I just, I wanted to spruce it up to start the show. I figured,
See, there, yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, you're Dwight in that one, but really you're dressed.
Look
like
at the
Michael
way
Scott.
look at the way the hair has just stood the test of time. Look at that, the perfect thing, and then today it's just right on brand. The consistency that I bring to the table, it's frightening. You know exactly what you're going to get from me.
We are frightened.
Yeah. All right, we got Moose Johnston coming up. We'll preview the Saints, and
He's on the call.
He's on the call,
for the
baby.
Bears Saints game, and he's joining us here today.
And just a teaser ahead, we are going to ask him about the Troy Aikman, Caleb Williams pre-production meetings that did not happen, that now is
former teammate of Troy Aikman.
Sweeping the nation. So that's coming up in about 10 minutes. Adam Jahns in 28 minutes from Hallis Hall on this beautiful Thursday. But, I did a moment in time yesterday that was not planned yesterday, Gregory, and just was at the end of the show, and I was, thinking to myself in this 3-game win streak where the euphoria is real. Talked to my guy Johnny today, the window guy. We were, he's hooking me up with some window situations. Johnny, the window guy, okay. Great man. Came to our tailgates. He does windows. You come to our tailgates. If I can do business with you, we're gonna find a way. My windows are messed up. We don't need to go down that road any further. Anyway, it was super helpful. But, it was just an optimistic, Bears conversation at 10 in the morning. We could feel it right now. I think any Bears fan you talk to right now, we're just in a much better spot than we were sitting at 0-2 after getting worked by the Lions.
I'm in a much better place.
You are. I mean, you were at the bottom. And
I mentally could not handle the way we started the season.
No, you could not. And I think, but you were reflective of a lot of Bears fans at that time because, you go everything that we've been through here, 3-14, first year of the Flus teardown and polls trying to reset the roster, and then you win 7, and everyone's going crazy to keep Justin Fields, and then Fields gets traded, and Caleb gets here, and there's excitement there, and you get to 4-2, and you think it's going to turn, and then you lose 10 in a row.
Right, and as we ride the roller coaster of being a Bears fan,
right.
But as we've said many times before, but we're saying it again.
This is different.
It feels different.
It does. But it does
feel different.
Doesn't it feel different,
but
Tony?
It actually feels different this time.
We're getting Tony's that's why.
Well, then get out of here.
That's why he's ahead of content. He keeps it level. I'm having a hard time keeping it level here. But I said yesterday at the end of the show, I was like, look, logically, the offense is going to sink in more. They're going to use the tight ends more. Caleb's going to continue to get better. The run game is going to be significantly better than it was the first 4 weeks of the season, and maybe it can come close to what they did in week 5. Defensively, you're getting healthy. So logically, with TJ Edwards and Kyler Gordon coming back and Tyreek Stevenson becoming now apparently a team that people fear as a number one quarterback, they're not even throwing it at Tyreek if you look at the stats on it. Logically, the Bears will get better from here. But if I remember back to last year, after they got to 4-2, I said the same exact thing.
Right.
Caleb's going to get better. This is going to get better. Everything's going to get better because – and it just didn't. So I'm a little bit worried that we're going a little bit too far. However, I think there is legit reason for optimism. Strictly by it does feel different.
I feel like
this
year
go ahead.
I feel like this year they're building off of each game, whereas last year they were scrambling. Because if you remember, they started 1-2, they win 3 in a row to get to 4 games, but through the 1-2. They hadn't scripted their first 15 plays. They didn't have a game plan. Then the Rams game comes along, and they throw out everything they were doing and all right, now we're gonna just focus on, ground and pound, nickel and dime our way up the field. And so to me, the difference is this year, even through the losses, you could see, even through the beatdown you got in Detroit, you could see. And I said it in our post game of the Detroit game. You could see the vision of what Ben Johnson's trying to accomplish offensively. And so to me, they're not straying away from those things. They're building onto it. Where last year it just kind of felt like they were grasping at whatever could work for that week.
So let's just specifically talk about the Ben Johnson effect, all right? In an unfair way. Are you ready to do it in an unfair way?
Sure. I love unfair.
Okay. So last year, you're 4-2. Mm-hmm. You go into Washington. Ben Johnson's your head coach, not Matt Eberflus. Do you think you win that game?
Into Washington. I mean, I picked him to win that game, but I felt just about as confident as when I picked him on Monday, where it felt like a coin flip kind of a game to me.
Yeah, but I'm talking about last year. They lost on a Hail Mary. If Ben's coaching that day, do you think they win the game? I thought that was a very easy question. Am I missing something here?
I'm sorry. I just thought if you asked me if I was confident going into that game. Am I confident going into that game last year if Ben's the coach? Absolutely.
Forget about going in. I'm talking about after the fact. Right now, looking back on it, Ben coaches that Washington game. Do they win?
The Hail Mary still happens.
The Hail Mary doesn't happen because Ben was coaching the game is the point I'm making.
All right. I'm sorry.
So they win the Washington game, right, with Ben?
Right.
Ben's the coach. They win that game?
Yeah.
Right. Now, you don't have – so I won't –
they didn't have the same offensive line, right?
I understand.
Okay.
I understand. But don't you think that last year wouldn't have collapsed the way it did if Ben was coaching?
Correct.
Okay. So
beating the Patriots.
Right, you're beating the Patriots. You don't perform like you did at Arizona. You're probably winning. You
win one of those last-second games.
Right, you win either the Packers game where you're missing a field goal, or you win the Vikings game that goes to overtime, or you win the Detroit game on Thanksgiving. I mean, they were right there.
Right, because when you think about the Vikings game, I think the Vikings game is an example of Monday night's game where you're handed somewhat of a gift. All of a sudden, you find yourself in overtime. But what happens when they get to overtime? They go backwards. They take a sack, turnover on downs. Whereas the Bears this time, they get a gift, have an opportunity to win the game. They still got to earn it. They didn't go backwards. They went forwards, and ran the ball and got inside the 20.
All right. And the reason why we're talking about last year is because I'm using it as an evidence point, if you will, as to why my confidence that the Bears are turning a corner is real because of Ben. Because if you had this situation last year, they would have been further along. Now you lost 2 games. Things look terrible. He stood up there and be like, look, we're just talking about winning our first game. I mean, Ben stayed pretty damn consistent. He didn't go in the tank. He didn't freak out. He didn't do anything other than I don't like what we're putting on tape. And he just worked the process, and they've gotten better.
Right.
And this past week they simplified it down. Said he put less in the offense than he put all year long, and they executed that much better. Like, this dude is figuring out what they can and can't do.
But that is why in week 1 I was so demoralized, because it felt too much like last year that I didn't want that feeling anymore. And so I had to embrace that Ben had to go through that one time with this team.
Right.
And there's going to be other times. It's not, this is football. Right. You're going to lose games. But the way they blew that in the fourth quarter, that was what kind of led to my demoralization. Like, come on, you can't have this same identity of last year. We're supposed to be rid of that. And now through this 3-game winning streak, it feels like they're kind of cleansing themselves.
Well, and look, it was demoralizing, but the way Ben handled it afterwards was elite. I would say, he took onus for 5 things he did wrong, which was 5 more things than Matt Eberflus ever took onus for.
Right.
And then by the end of the week, when he was asked about it, he was getting annoyed by it. So he showed like a little bit of a backbone there. Like, all right, can we get off of last week already? Thank you very much. So there was an accountability from the start of the year.
Whereas the Hail Mary game, they were talking about that for 2 weeks.
Yeah. So anyway, the overall point here is that there should be confidence in where this season is going because you have a different leader taking you through this good, better, best, and doing everything that Ben's doing. Now, add on to that, look at the schedule. New Orleans is a 1-win football team coming in here. If anybody says it's a trap game, the Bears are not. There's no such thing as trap games for a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in forever. I can't, like, this is a huge opportunity to get a win. That's how I would look at it. I don't think the Bears are going to rest on their laurels going into New Orleans. At least I would hope not. Baltimore is an injured bunch. Sure, Lamar might get back, but that game looks way more winnable than it looked like at the start of the season. Same thing with Cincinnati, no Joe Burrow. We've all been through the schedule. But you have a lot of winnable games that at the beginning of the year, they didn't look winnable, and now they do. So, Ben, winnable games, things getting better. I had the Bears at 7-10. Last year I upped it. And then I kicked myself for upping it. Because I should have been downing it. The only guy on the show that downed it at this point last year when we did this conversation was Steven, who went from, 9-8 to 8-9?
I think I went from 10-7 to 9-8.
10-7 to 9-8. And what did you have the Bears at the start of the year?
This year, nine wins.
And you're sticking with that, or are you going up? After my impassioned plea of why.
I'm going to stick at 9, but I'll say this much. 2 weeks ago, even after the Cowboys win, if you'd asked me then, which was a small sample size, only 3 games, but I would have said the Bears were only going to win 7 games, but that I was embracing it because as long as I saw incremental improvement and development, specifically from Caleb Williams and the offense, and you see a culture and an identity of a team that plays hard, come through, that I could accept that because they had a lot of injuries at the time of the Cowboys game. They're not stopping anybody. And so I started to kind of accept what was going to come. Now, all of a sudden, maybe being in the stands in Vegas for that blocked field goal gets into the emotion strings. Sure. Beating Washington the way they did on prime time certainly, pulls at the strings. So to me, those things I think now lead me to going back up to 9. Because why not? I definitely can see the light a little more here. So. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But I'm a little more optimistic, which is funny because you're essentially talking about 2 field goals. If they don't block the field goal or if Jake Moody misses it, they're 2-4 instead of 1-3.
Hold that thought because I'm feeling like Moose is going to ring in any second here, and I want to be ready for the Moose. So let's be ready for Moose. We'll also continue that conversation if Moose is not there. But first... Hey, shout out to our friends at Bet365. Get involved, Gregory. Make a play on tonight's game. Little Steelers, little Browns. Steelers are, a 5.5-point favorite? 4.5-point favorite tonight.
Don't bet against the Browns. They're playing the Bengals.
Don't bet against the Browns. They're playing the Bengals.
That's right. Steelers-Bengals tonight.
Oh, Steelers-Bengals with Joe Flacco's, that's what you're doing. Anyway, you can do a $10 safety net bet tonight, which is awesome on Thursday nights. Sunday Night Football, they got a $365,000 jackpot going on. Breaking news from Bet365 if you missed it. Look, what you do right now is you sign up, you place a bet for $5 after you deposit $10, and then you get $200 in bonus bets if your bets wins or loses. Spreads, totals, player props, futures, all of it, whatever the moment. Never ordinary. Bet365. Seriously, take advantage of that offer. It's fantastic. You do have to be 21 or older if you or someone you know has a gambling problem. Crisis counseling and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER in-app only. I love our friends at Bet365.
That's right. And I got some bad news for you guys. Winter is just around the corner, but is your home up for a heating challenge? Well, I'll tell you what, if you have a plumbing emergency, you call Four Seasons. If you have an electrical emergency, call Four Seasons. And if you need a new hot water tank installed today, you call Four Seasons. Now is the time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. Thinking about a whole home generator? Well, we've got you covered. You can get furnaces starting out at $39 a month or furnace AC combos for $57 a month.
That's the buy. It's a good one.
Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric have been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Your trusted local experts are Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com.
Four Seasons. So Greg Braggs just made his biggest cold water Bears on a 3-game win streak comment in the history of this show. Congratulations. You were living in a fair level of reality that I respect. The Bears are the first team in the history of football to win back-to-back games 25-24. That happened because they blocked the kicks against Las Vegas. Josh Blackwell, shout out you. Can't rely on that happening. And they beat the Commanders on a field goal at the buzzer.
And because of a fumble
Because
that was very fortuitous at the end. And that's the difference between 3-2 and 1-4.
Right. Which
And
is
so
a
it's
huge-ass difference.
It's a slim margin. And if you also just look at the Vegas and Commanders games, and we don't count almost interceptions, but in the Raiders game, at one point Caleb Williams throws across his body, almost throws a pick six. And the Raiders player should have caught it. And he doesn't, but if he had, there is no block kick at the end of that game. And in the Commanders game, there was multiple times, including in the second half, where Caleb almost threw an interception at the goal line.
Yep, threw it right to him, went through his hands.
And it went right through his hands. And had that happen, so we're talking about very slim margins. At the end of the day, that is football.
Correct.
And so the Bears have found their way on the other side. And as Adam Johns said on our postgame show, they're putting themselves in position to be lucky. Sometimes there is luck that comes into the equation when you are a team that wins 9 games. So I think because Ben Johnson has them playing the way they're playing and they're preparing the way they are and they're competing the way they are in the game, they're going to find themselves in more fortuitous positions.
Yeah, and they are going, at least my belief, strong belief, is that they are going to get better as it goes along. Theo Benedett being your starting left tackle and using his physicality to impact the run game, and giving you an athlete who can move, that's a huge, huge development. Caleb understanding the offense, looking more and more comfortable pretty much week in and week out, that feels a lot more solid to me, at least. And last week, you had a moment from a rookie, Luther Burden, getting a throw down the right sidelines, makes a sweet move, goes down the sideline, spins the football. You just see the talent that is there. We saw it in training camp. It's starting to come out, popping off here and there. So if that chemistry keeps on going, you would think that maybe Luther can put up bigger numbers than I thought was going to happen this year, which I believe I said at some point that Luther looked like he was going to have a redshirt year this year, because he did in training camp. Couldn't line up right. Ben's yanking him off the field. But that's another prop to Ben on how he coached up a rookie, created some accountability, and moved him forward. Good job, Ben. So is the defense good enough? No. Can they get to the quarterback? No. Does Dio Odangbo look like a good signing? No. Is Montez Sweat going to do anything other than force a fumble? I don't know. So I'm not trying to claim everything's perfect here, but I also do think you have the base of reasons for why the Bears can have a successful season and be in the mix here for the playoffs like everyone's hoping.
Well, and I think the other aspect of it is when you look at these next 4 games, they have an opportunity here against 4 teams with a losing record, so it's reasonable to say, it's realistic to say that they can go on a little bit of a run here. At the very least, you're looking at these next 4 with an opportunity, to go 3-1. Is that too far to say? I mean, Kay Adams is picking them to go 4-0 the next 4 games and be 7-2. I'll be streaking down Lakeshore Drive if that's the case. But 3-1 puts you at 6-3.
I think both are firmly in the range of outcomes. The Ravens won. That game was a game that I penciled in as a loss before the season started. Lamar Jackson figures to be back for that one, but that team might be selling by then. They've already traded off one piece. It's possible they trade off more. I mean, they're in a position where if they lose even one more game, I mean, the Ravens might be looking at it this as a chalked season. If we go back to what our updated record predictions were, at this point last season, I moved them down 1 game from what I had originally projected for them. Now, if I'm doing this same exercise this year, I'm going to go with the same calculus, which is the Bears lost a game that I expected them to win this season, and they won a game that I expected them to lose. And for that reason, I'm sticking with 8-9 right now, which was my original prediction for the Bears. Carm, I'm curious where you have them.
So, look, I am at 7-10. Let's do it on the fly here. Saints 4-2, Ravens 4-3. I think they win one of those 2 at Ravens Bengals. So 5-3. Giants 6-3 at Minnesota 6-4. Steelers at home. Steelers are playing really well. I think they win one of the 2, Vikings and Steelers 7-4. Give me that. Eagles and Packers both on the road. That's a super tough stretch. So I guess I get to 7-6 there. They beat the Browns 8-6. I think they can get Green Bay at home 9-6. Lose to the Niners 9. I somehow got out of pocket here. No, so that would be 9-7. I think that's where I'm at. 9-7, and then the Lions at home. I think I certainly would up them from 7 to at least 8, maybe 9 wins, realistically, right now. If you want to be fair to where they're going.
Yeah, but again, I mean, every game is decided in the final second. So, that's why for me. The Washington game certainly changed my mindset, because prior to that game, I was like, I'm not going to think about wins and losses. I'm not going to do the schedule math on how they can get to 9-10 wins and start trying to, find the Da Vinci Code of how they're going to get to the playoffs, because all that matters ultimately to me is what we're seeing, and that's the development of this offense and this quarterback, the identity being molded of good, better, best. Even in the last game, he said after they won, he's like, all I need is a little bit more. And they all said it together. Like, I'm a culture guy. I know everybody's throwing around all these metrics and ADOT and EPA and CPOE and all these other acronyms I don't care about. What I care about is what's inside of here. And Ben Johnson is tapping into that. You can see it with the way these guys are responding in the games, after the games, the way they're preparing through the week. You saw it at training camp. And for me, I'm excited for game day every Sunday, whether they win or lose, because I believe in what Ben Johnson is building here.
So let's throw in one other variable as we consider where the Bears are going. Trade deadline, early November. The speculation out there is that if the Bears add on anything significant, it would be a piece that wouldn't just be for this year, but be something that, would have some level of sustainability, if you will. Gary Ross is texting me right now. Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson is expected to be out tonight versus the Steelers. Wanted to play, but tough on a short turnaround. Hopeful for next week. Some might speculate that Trey is just not going to play until he gets moved, which I highly doubt. But those are the names that are, obviously would massively excite Bears fans if you added somebody along that line. Do you think, Gregory, that Ryan Poles is going to do a Ryan Poles level Montez Sweat, Chase Claypool, whoever you want to name, so hopefully somebody that turns out better than both of those players, a level addition? Do you think that they would look at it this way in Ben's year one? Go ahead.
Well, I think we talk about this, here when you watch, if you watch the Brick by Brick podcast coming up here tonight, it's 6 p.m. Central.
Did I just steal a topic? I didn't
No,
mean
it's
to do
fine.
that.
It's fine. We do talk a little bit at length about some different options. I'll just say this much: the Bears still have to earn that right to consider trading for someone. These next 4 games before you get to November 4th and a trade deadline. There's some options out there, whether you're looking at defensive line or running back or maybe even secondary. I don't know, a corner, but
Sure.
To me right now, let's see him go 3-1 through these next 4 games and be 6-3 and solidify yourself as somebody that is in the playoff hunt. Then you can justify considering a move like that. But when you take into account Ryan Poles' decisions at the trade deadline in years past with Montez Sweat and Chase Claypool, I wouldn't blame him for wanting to hold his cards and say, let's just let this season be what it is, and we're going to be ready to make a serious run next year.
Yes, that'd be fine if they didn't do anything. I wouldn't be screaming Ryan Poles needs to make a move for this particular season. However, if something made sense where if the Bears do beat the Saints and then go on and play well on the road, Baltimore, Cincinnati, get one of them at least, then I would think there's got to be at least some lower level play that you could do that would help the team.
Well, and to the point of someone in the chat saying you don't have 4 weeks to figure this out. Correct. You have 3 games. You have the Saints, the Ravens, and the Bengals games. The Bengals game is November 2nd, and then the trade deadline is November 4th. So technically you'd have 3 games to see what you have here the rest of the way before you get to the trade deadline if you wanted to wait all the way until the day of.
Okay. Well, Adam Jahns could help us walk this through a little bit further, and maybe are we being Aikman? Are we being Caleb by Moose? What's up with the Moose?
That's a good question.
I'm
I'm working through it. I know everybody in the chat. We had some comments on our show yesterday about some of my distractions on the show, and I'm efforting Daryl Johnston still, and he should be coming.
I should have brought it up.
He might be in a production meeting, but yes, these are the things that stress me out during the show. So I know you guys are all experts on how we do things around here, but we're working through some things.
Listen.
Well, it stresses me out. Everybody knows this.
Okay. You're a professional. I
want to talk to Moose.
It's going to happen.
Kicking Jahns off if he calls in.
Okay, great. Well, we'll kick Jahns off. That'll be great. But first, sorry, I could have given you a better heads up. This episode is being brought to you by our friends at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day.
Yeah.
You make some great decisions, Gregory.
That's right.
But on Prize Picks, when you make a good decision, when you're right, you get paid. Don't miss out on the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Let's talk about tonight. Let's talk about the Browns. Let's talk about the Bengals and the Steelers tonight. Thank you very much. Joe Flacco.
The Flack Master.
0.5 passing touchdowns, more or less.
More.
Okay. Aaron Rodgers, 174.5 passing yards, more or less.
More.
Okay. Jamar Chase, 39.5 receiving yards. Feels like a more. Right. So you do that on a 2 to 6 player stat projection, and if you are the right type, you will get yourself paid. It's a beautiful thing. Download the app today and use the code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today and use the code CHGO to get $50 instantly after you play your first lineup. And you know what the slogan is?
Prize Picks It's good to be right.
It is good to be right.
And we are always right as we're leading the league here at CHGO and picking Bears games right now. Tied for that lead. Thank you very much. Got to give a shout out to Mac Weldon. Whether it's the gym or a night out, whatever adventure for you, the clothes you want has to feel comfortable. And Mac Weldon, they've got the breathable clothes that keep you cool, comfortable, and stylish for any season. Their new tech linen line combines the easy charm of classic linen with cool Mac's technology. So get breathable clothes you can feel comfortable in. Go to macweldon.com and get 20% off your first order or $125 or more with the promo code CHGO. That's MACKWELDON.com. Promo code CHGO.
All right, we're getting a massage therapist to come in here and calm Greg Braggs down as he waits for Moose. But right now, you're going to have to deal with talking to Adam Jahns, buddy. That's the way it is. I know you worked.
You better cheer me up.
Yeah, I know you worked very hard on getting this elite guest here, but Jahns is an elite guest too. Johnsy, I'd be offended that he just said that he wants to kick you off if Moose calls in.
Hey, I understand though. I understand. I know what it's like to be waiting in a call. Things happen. But if I gotta go, guys, I get it, Greg. I'm on your side. I'm on your team. Hopefully that cheers you up.
So
appreciate it. And I'm not gonna be like Aikman and take it personally.
I thought I actually did a great job yesterday because I could have said things like, "Who blows off Troy Aikman and doesn't show up for a meeting like that with a Hall of Famer?" I didn't say any of that yesterday. I put it all on Troy, that this was on him for acting the way he did, and nothing on Caleb. And then Johnsy, you wrote about it, allchgo.com. Give Caleb Williams some credit. He handled criticism extremely well for a young quarterback, despite being often being the target of it. Why don't you? Just let's talk about this young man and the way he handles everything that comes at him, including people on this show who perhaps mentioned his body language in last week's, but I got screamed at by everybody around her, so there was plenty of defenses for him. But yeah, I mean, a lot comes your way when you're the number one overall draft pick and you're the quarterback of the Chicago Bears, and I think he has handled it incredibly well.
Absolutely. So let's put it this way. At least he's not asking to turn off the TVs at Hallis Hall. Remember that comment, the tongue-in-cheek comment from Mitch Trubisky, which went viral, which was interpreted in many different, probably wrong ways back when he said it. But that was an example of the pressure, the scrutiny, the criticism seeping its way into Hallis Hall. And I think Caleb handles it differently. He takes it on. He embraces it. He's not lying to himself or to us. He knows the criticism is out there. He's willing to see it, identify it, and then make fun of it, especially when he's successful. He's on the record saying before that it's part of his motivation, the criticism, and motivates him. I like that mindset. I like that approach to it, as opposed to we're tuning out the noise, we're blocking out the critics. It doesn't exist out there. I like when players acknowledge the reality of what they're actually facing, because everybody's on social media. Everybody knows it's happening. Everybody can see everything nowadays. And Caleb, in his defense, recognizes it and uses it as motivation.
So the Bears, they've won 3 games in a row. They're facing a bad Saints team. They're 5.5-point favorites on the Circa Sports Illinois app. Everyone on NFL Network yesterday, they did all their picks. You see the graphic every week. Rank always picks against the grain. All 8 people picked Bears over Saints. So is this a trap game? Or is it not a trap game because the Bears haven't earned the right to determine another team is lesser than them? Does this fall into that category?
You're saying, are the Bears actually in position as a good team to be trapped? I don't know if they're there. I don't think Ben Johnson embraces such an idea. I think even yesterday he kind of dismissed the idea of this being a down week, a trap week for the Bears. And the Saints, guys, they're not that bad. Their defense does some good things. The Bears have spoken glowingly of them already this week. Ben Johnson has, Declan Doyle has, Caleb Williams has, especially the Saints defense, which could surprise some folks if you're not looking at the numbers or watching some film going into the Sunday. So I think the Saints are more of a challenge than everybody's given them credit for. And I think they have a very motivated quarterback who might want to get some revenge of his own against Caleb Williams. So I think that's another interesting storyline to follow come Sunday.
Oh, the Spencer Rattler revenge. You took my gig game. This is, hey, I like it. Let's go. Competition perhaps a rising competition will lift all boats? Does that make any sense whatsoever? Caleb's going to have his best game of the season. What do you think of that, Johnsy?
I would say every week can't be some type of showdown between quarterbacks, but I would understand, obviously, the Jaden Daniels build-up, and I would understand this, especially given their history together going back to Oklahoma and how things transpired down there.
Yeah, no doubt. So you also put in your takeaways about Ben Johnson in the bye week and the way he handled it, and the run game all of a sudden looks a whole lot better here. What, if we were just go a little more global, from the moment that Ben Johnson arrived in Chicago to now, what has impressed you most about what he's brought to the table?
How he's pretty straightforward in his approach and his honesty, really, with the media, from him saying originally that, I don't know if we're going to be inside zone team or an outside zone team. We have to figure this out. To him then saying how he's going to be obsessed with the run game, how it keeps him up at night going into the bye week. Like, I like hearing things like that. I like hearing that the Bears head coach is obsessed with fixing the run game as opposed to just the passing game. So he's been everything I think the Bears had hoped he would be, especially offensively. Has it been smooth sailing? Of course not, but it was never supposed to be that way when he's got a young quarterback to challenge and develop every single week. And those things kind of coincided with each other. Like, in order to develop, he has to be challenged, and that includes at practice with what Ben Johnson wants to install. Just coming out of the bye week, like, how often, Carm, Braggs, have we covered stories where the Bears are just awful coming out of the bye? Like, what did they do? What did they like? How did they spend their time? Were they just on vacation in the entire duration of their bye week, and that way it's why they were so bad when they returned to the field? This was different. The Bears went on the road on prime time, handled a very good opponent, and won in a lot of key facets. Obviously won the game, but the adjustments going from 12 personnel to more 11 personnel to having Theo Benedict on the left side, like those adjustments that Ben Johnson made coming out of the bye week worked for the Bears.
Can we talk about that 12 personnel, 11 personnel thing? Do you understand what 11 personnel is?
Yes, I do. 2 tight ends is the 12 personnel.
2 tight ends is 12.
Correct.
Okay, good.
So 11 is 1.
Okay, 11 is 1. I didn't mean to put you on the spot there, even though I probably did. But a lot of people, I still don't think most people, I mean, I know that our Dr. Truce and Robert Lee and Matt Nagy, everybody knows everything here, but some people, when you go to that level, they don't get it. But last week, the Bears played 1 tight end, way more than they have all season long. And Ben made it out that was because this was what the Commanders going against them called for. But I do wonder if we're going to see more of that and what that means for perhaps Colston Loveland at this point with a slow start to the season. Do you think this continues, or do you think it was just kind of a, okay, that's how we attack the Commanders sort of thing?
Well, I think this is something we have to track now, Carm, because he's on record saying it. This was just a one-off, something to do against the Washington Commanders and Dan Quinn's defense. That was the most 11 personnel Ben Johnson has ever used when it comes to calling a football game, going back to his Detroit days. So it's significant how much 11 personnel, 90% of the time, that they used against the Commanders. Now, will that continue? I don't know. I have my doubts because I do think the Bears want to get Colston Loveland involved. I think they want to get him going. I think they can. They still strongly believe he could be a formidable part of their offense. But, Carm, to your point, to your question, to your concern, it is something to watch because, let's face it, the production isn't there out of Colston Loveland right now. So if you see Ben Johnson lean into 11 personnel, using his receivers more than his 2 tight end sets, then I think this is a storyline that will continue. But right now, it's just a one-off week.
Well, I do think it's notable that from a snap count percentage that Cole Kmet, I think, was at 52%, and Colston Loveland was at 47%, I believe is what I saw, after the game on Monday. So that's interesting. We didn't really see too much in the passing game from either tight end, although Colston Loveland did make the big 3rd down catch on the final drive for the Bears to go on to kick that field goal for Jake Moody. So that's going to, I think, be one of the number one things I look at here this Sunday is to see how that disparity progresses. I want to take it back to the offensive line with you, Jahns. Everybody's talking about Theo Benedict and Darnell Wright, and rightfully so. They both had great games, but are we kind of not giving enough flowers to Drew Dahlman and Jonah Jackson, who may not have had the best starts to the year, but certainly also showed out in their own right on Monday.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. To me, Braggs, it comes down to chemistry, because these are veteran players who have played a lot of snaps in this league, obviously for different organizations. And you could throw Joe Tooney in this conversation as well. This was going to be a progress, too. This was going to take time, a work in progress, sorry, I should say. This was going to take time for them to connect, for Ben Johnson to figure out what they do well, not only as individuals, but together on that interior. And then you had, Darnell Wright suffer that elbow injury, so that changed some things up front. But right now, the feeling I get from the Bears is that they have confidence. They have something to build upon coming out of this Washington game with this offensive line where Caleb Williams was protected well. The run game worked. DeAndre Swift was that spark that they needed to get going. And that all starts up front. Theo on the left side, Darnell on the right, and then those three guys in the middle. I think you're starting to see improved chemistry on the field on game days.
Yeah, and Torian's underlining it in the chat. Can't have 9 penalties again on Sunday. So you would think that the Bears will become just a little tighter ship, if you will, as far as the amount of penalties they've taken so far, which has been too many. Jahns, your 0.5 today is interesting. It's okay to be optimistic about the Bears' defense, which I think a lot of Bears fans are having a hard time getting to. But you point out what's going on well on third down. You point out the takeaways, and you point out their defensive EPA. Adam Hoge's favorite. He loves him. He loves a good Sumer Sports stat. So are you thinking that Dennis Allen with the renewed parts have come in here, that the Bears can become middle of the road here? Is that a realistic expectation?
Well, guys, if they're winning in these key moments, like third down is so important in football. Like, you can't overstate it enough. And the Bears are the best third down defense in the entire league. What was it, 30.6%? I mean, that's an outstanding number. And there's a lot of things going right. I think it's kind of working kind of back to forward, where everything's not kind of starting up front. I think the secondary is really the Bears' strength right now, and it's helping up front. But that's where the Bears would say you have that rush and coverage working in tandem. But I don't think things are starting up front. I think it can get better. Maybe things improve when Grady Jarrett returns to the field. Maybe things improve when Austin Booker returns to the field. But I think the coverage aspect, with the Bears having 8 interceptions this season, and these aren't lucky interceptions too, guys. These are real red plays where they're taking advantage of their own scouting, of their own film studies, stuff they're preparing for. They're seeing on game days, and they're capitalizing in these moments. This is Al Harris's secondary coming to life. What did Ben Johnson say earlier this week, where the scout defense, or the scout offense, with your guy Bagent and Case Keenum, they're struggling against this defense, where the interceptions that they're getting in practice, they're carrying over into game day. So that's beyond encouraging. I think it's contagious. You see them happen every single week now. Brisker finally got on the board, but that's not, luck, in my opinion. Even Brisker's interception, that's not being in the right place at the right time. That's reading a concept and attacking the football instead of the receiver, and that's what the Bears want their defensive backs to do.
I am going to be doing some investigating about the scout team having some troubles here, because I'm not sure if I buy that. I think that might have been just a nice thing to say. I believe in the scout team domination, damn it. I know you do. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You don't believe in it?
I don't know why
scaring me down.
Why are you getting all no, I was just going to make a Bajan joke.
I know. I'm aware. You got anything else for Johnsy there, distracted man?
No, maybe. What do you think about? Well, I mean, everybody's talking about Austin Booker returning, but I'm wondering if you think what we've saw from Dominique Robinson over the last couple of games is real.
I want to think so, Greg, but how many times have we seen this? Like, how many times has this been a minor storyline in every season where Dominique Robinson is finding his way? He's developing from that quarterback, which he once was, into this potential intimidating pass rusher. We just need consistency. I think he is what he is at this point. It's his 4th season. He's a nice piece to have up front. Can he get better? Sure. He's a young player. Does Dennis Allen's scheme helps him? Sure. I think we're seeing signs of that. But to me, I'm looking more at Shamar Turner who played some defensive end against the Commanders. Like, is that something that's going to continue? Is that something that the Bears need just in terms of igniting their pass rush, where you could put Sweat or Dangbo in the middle? Maybe Booker comes off the edge in that instance. But I think the mixing and matching and the experimentation that Dennis Allen is going through up front, I think that's going to continue for the next couple weeks here.
Yeah. Well, one thing I think is real is this coaching staff. Ben Johnson is the real deal. Dan Rochar is the real deal. Al Harris got Tyreek Stevenson going around. Real deal. Antoine Randall, real deal.
You're the real deal. Jahns is the real deal. Steven's the real deal.
Don't take my real deal thing.
I'm taking your real deal. You needed it to be taken. It was just not. You're not the real deal. He's the real deal. You're not. I get excited about the real deals. You need to be more of a fired up real deal guy. This is going to end badly for me today, John.
I'm going to be fired up in a second here.
Hey, last one. You don't think there's any chance that they add Jake Moody to the 53-man roster, do you? Because I'm hearing a bunch of people speculating that, which I think is absurd.
Well, like for again, like another game where Cairo Santos is out, or two kickers.
They keep two kickers on the roster because they're worried that Cairo is not fully healthy and that they don't want to lose Moody because they lose some kicks. Because Moody's making kicks.
If he's fully healthy, Cairo Santos is your kicker. But if he's not feeling right, Jake Moody is your guy. Like, I get your concern that players can be poached off practice squads, and Jake Moody has become a national story after what he did on Monday Night Football. But you could protect it. You could sign him to your active roster. We'll see. I don't think we're quite there yet, but it's a nice insurance option as opposed to a developmental project, which he once was considered after his acquisition. Now he's insurance for Cairo Santos and his health.
Well, degree of difficulty could be going up on Sunday. Soldier Field is not an easy place to kick, as we all know, and last time I checked, the stadium hasn't been built, so doesn't get to kick indoors. Johnsy, you'll be rocking and rolling. What time will you be at the tailgate on Sunday? 8:02?
8:02? 8:01? What time should I be there? What time do you need me there, Carm?
7 a.m. Don't ask Carm, ask me.
What time do you want to get to?
I am not going to be there at 7 a.m.
I like you at a 9:0. I like you from a 9:06 to a 9:50 tour. An 06 to 52. Does that give you enough time to get over to the stadium? What time do you need to be at the stadium?
It should. Well, usually you want to be there by inactives, and then I got to talk to you guys, I think, at 11:30. So I need to be prepped, fed, and ready to go.
You might need to do an 8:48er to a 9:26er. Let's do that. Let's get it good. But I want you to talk to every single person that's there. By the way, our tailgate at 22nd and Wabash is amazing. Greg Braggs is our leader, and
we have a break to take.
So Johnsy, and I'm sure Moose Johnston's coming up any minute here. So we'll see you Sunday whenever you get there. All right.
All right, fellas. See ya.
All right, Adam Jahns is leaving us. Moose Johnston coming up, but first. Hey, I'm talking to you. That's right, you. And you.
Me?
And you, yes. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. Enough. At Mint Mobile, shout out to our friends at Mint Mobile. Their favorite word is no, as in no contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. And this is why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. I mean, $15 a month. This is the good stuff here. Use your own phone, too. I didn't have to switch phones with any Mint Mobile plan. Bring your phone number along with your contacts, all the good things. Are you ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch to Mint Mobile today at mintmobile.com/CHGO. That's mintmobile.com/CHGO. Upfront payment, $45 required. Limited time for new customers. The offer is for the first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on the unlimited plan. Tax and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
That's right. Got to give a shout out to our good friend Ray Scarpelli and their fine people over at Ray Auto CDJR. New vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, and this is your chance to score a great deal at the Drive into Fall event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. Right now, get 0% financing for 72 months available on new models. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. With a friendly team of brand experts, the team at Ray CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. So don't miss out on the Drive into Fall event for huge savings on new models. For more information, once again, visit Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since
1963.
That's right. Shout out, Ray.
All right. I got to tell you, when the national media, the elites, get very busy, you got to look inward and think, how can you beat them? How can you be better? Good, better, best. And the only way for that to do it, for us to do it,
is to wear that purple shirt.
Go Cats. Also, you know what happens on Thursdays on the show? We get to go to the mansion. We get to hang out with Adam Hoge. And I don't know who or why the persons on the show haven't talked about Whiteboard. What did we decide the name of it is?
Wasted.
No, that's not the name.
Whiteboard of Wisdom?
Whiteboard Wisdom.
Yeah,
it's a Thursday. We've got Whiteboard Wisdom for you. Hoge's working hard. So as we wait for Moose, which we're not giving up on, we go to Whiteboard Wisdom. Let's hear what Adam Hoge has cooked up for the Bears and the Saints.
Time for your Week 7 whiteboard with the New Orleans Saints coming to town. Just 1-5. Noon game on Fox. And look at this. The Bears are favored. That's right. 5-point favorites in this game over the New Orleans Saints. Your over-under is 47 points. Last week, the Saints lost to the Patriots. Kind of a similar game where Drake May had a big win the week before over the Bills. Came to New Orleans. Same draft class. Caleb Williams, big win in Washington. Now facing the Saints. And again, I mentioned they're 1-5. Look at their coach, just like Ben Johnson, new head coach for the Saints. Kellen Moore came over from the Eagles. Of course, won the Super Bowl there as their offensive coordinator. He brought along with him Doug Nussmeier, who has been with them for the last 5 years in 3 different spots. Went from Dallas to the Chargers to Philly and now to New Orleans. He's the OC, but Kellen Moore calls the plays. Doug Nussmeier, if that name sounds familiar, Garrett Nussmeier is his son, the starting quarterback at LSU, who probably should be a first-round pick this coming draft. Their defensive coordinator, another familiar name, Brandon Staley, who's with the Bears back when Khalil Mack got traded to the Bears, of course, from the Vic Fangio tree. Went on to become the head coach of the Chargers. Didn't work out there. He was the assistant head coach for Kyle Shanahan last year with the 49ers and then rehired as the defensive coordinator. Think Vic Fangio when you think the Saints defense. They're lacking a little talent, but it's still exotic. It's a fun scheme, and it'll cause some challenges for Caleb Williams. Their special teams coordinator is Phil Galliano. He's been there as their assistant special teams coach the last 6 years. He was promoted when Darren Rizzi, one of the better special teams coordinators there is in the entire league, moved on to go join Sean Payton's staff with the Broncos this year. Rizzi, of course, was the interim head coach last year. He ends up leaving. Galliano promoted. Interestingly, though, special teams has taken a big hit since Rizzi left, so that could be a big factor in this game. See if the Bears have an advantage there. Talk about who the Saints added. Justin Reed, you know him, the safety, backup kicker sometimes. Brandon Cooks, wide receiver, added. Devon Godchaux, big nose tackle because they needed one to change the scheme up with Brandon Staley running the 3-4. He gets added in a trade. They didn't lose much in the offseason. Kind of a rebuilding team. So in terms of who they lost, I just wrote down Tano Passanio because he's on the Bears now. Followed Dennis Allen over. In terms of EPA per play and looking at this matchup, not really any of these units ranking very highly, although look at the Bears defense creeping up a little bit. Now 18th in EPA per play, offense 23rd. We'll get into some of the specifics with the offense in a second. In terms of the Saints, neither of these units are particularly good. Offensively, they rank 27th in EPA per play. Defensively, 22nd. Want to focus first on the Bears offense going up against this Saints defense because it is an interesting matchup, and you've probably heard by now all week that despite some of these numbers, despite some of their deficiencies, the Saints, they've been playing pretty hard under Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley. I've been calling them feisty all season, and I expect that to be the case on Sunday against the Bears. However, matchup-wise, the Bears should have some advantages here. So while I mentioned the 23rd offensively in EPA per play, look at that EPA per dropback number. It's continuing to kind of creep up for Caleb Williams in the offense, in the passing game. Now 13th. Very good. I mean, and headed in the right direction. It can still be better, obviously, but that's what you like to see. That's what Ben Johnson has been talking about. And for the Saints defense, they're 27th in EPA per dropback. So probably some opportunity for the Bears to move the ball through the air. Now, important note, though, explosive percentage defensively for the Saints, they rank 5th. So they don't give up a ton of explosive plays. Of course, that factors in the run game as well. I still think the Bears should be able to move the ball through the air. EPA per rush, 30th for the Bears. Still, obviously, can be a lot better. They were 32nd last week, though, so they moved up 2 spots with their big game against Washington. Saints defense pretty good against the run, though. They rank 6th. Keep that in mind. I want to mention the 12 personnel again, the 12 personnel percentage. Bears used less of it last week against the Commanders, and part of that, I think, is because in 11 personnel, their EPA is now up to 14, so they're having success with more wide receivers on the field. That being said, as we get into some of the matchups, we got to watch DJ Moore, who's hurt with that groin injury that sent him to the hospital on Monday night. If he's not able to play, that could change the game plan. Probably will change the game plan. Obviously, he's pretty darn important. That being said, this isn't the worst week to not have DJ Moore if they don't. I kind of like the idea of getting Luther Burden some more work and maybe see what it looks like when Rome Odunze has to carry a larger workload or target share. So maybe a little fortunate that way, although we'll see. Maybe DJ can still play. It's still relatively early in the week. In terms of the Saints injuries, Isaac Yiadom, one of their corners, is dealing with a hamstring. He may be out. And then the other thing I wanted to focus, Chase Young, I put him over here in this box because he's technically still not a starter because he's been hurt. He finally came back last week against the Patriots, and they kind of just worked him in there. I expect his load to go up more. So with Granderson and Cam Jordan, obviously, you get Chase Young on the field a little bit more. This could be interesting with some of these matchups, like when Young and Cam Jordan are on the field at the same time. That could test Theo Benedict. So we'll continue to see right here with Theo Benedict if he can continue to play well, because I think this will be at times a tougher matchup than he had on Monday night against the Commanders. And quickly, let's go over to the Saints offense. I should have mentioned some of their draft picks. Calvin Banks Jr. is their left tackle out of Texas. Liked him a lot. He was picked right ahead of where the Bears took Colston Loveland. I think the Bears liked him too. They got a couple young tackles here in Fuaga on the right side as well, as they try to build this thing back up. And Spencer Rattler at quarterback. He's been okay. He's been fine. The numbers don't blow you away, but you kind of factor in expectations. Remember, they drafted Tyler Shuck in the 2nd round, and Rattler won the job. And the interesting nugget about Rattler, and you probably already heard this, he was the starting quarterback at Oklahoma. When he was benched, it was in favor of Caleb Williams. So you got that Caleb Williams kind of Spencer Rattler rivalry going on in this game as well. One thing I love to see here, there's no red on the Bears defense. Now, obviously Grady Jarrett is not listed here, and he could still be out, and they're missing Jalen Johnson. But with these guys that were out there last week, healthier defense is good. In terms of the Saints offense, EPA per rush, 21st. Explosive percentage, dead last in the league. Not a ton of explosive plays, so they can be contained. And their EPA per dropback is just 24. So again, Spencer Rattler has been okay based on expectations, but certainly not great. We'll be watching Alvin Kamara, who's dealing with an ankle injury, and Chris Olave dealing with a hip injury. Overall, Dennis Allen should be able to contain his former team with what the Saints have in terms of firepower. Should be all right. And going back to the Bears offense, I like some of these matchups. Even if DJ Moore is out, it's going to be tough for the Saints to stop the Bears wide receivers in this game. Caleb Williams should be able to take another step forward in Week 7. There's your Week 7 look at the New Orleans Saints.
Phenomenal job by Adam Hoge once again. New names coming in for the Whiteboard segment. What was your favorite one today?
Whiteboard in the chat, Walla. Timmy said Whiteboard walkthrough.
The Whiteboard walkthrough.
The Whiteboard walkthrough.
Might not be sexy enough for me. That's kind of like,
Yeah, I would.
I need a little more flair.
But it makes sense because the team goes through a walkthrough before the game. So, like, to me, that like Whiteboard Wasted is fun. Whiteboard Wisdom.
We'll keep workshopping it.
I think Whiteboard Walkthrough is a nice meeting in the middle. Make sure you become a diehard.
That's the whole
at
point.
allchgosports.com/diehard. QR code here on your screen. Get a free shirt right out the gate. Good, better, best. We just dropped that shirt a couple weeks ago. Shout out to Eric for all the hard work he does with his designs. You get discounts on events, including our tailgates. We have an event coming up at Joe's on Wheat Street on October 26th. And you get exclusive written content from Adam Jahns, Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, the whole crew. So you get a lot of different things when you sign up to become a diehard. Please do. We appreciate your support.
We sure do. And we are getting awful close to having 5,000 of y'all rock and roll. So thank you to everyone who has supported us. And, yes, we try to give you 3 times, 4 times, 10 times the value when you become a diehard, starting with the fact that it's basically free because you get the T-shirt coming right back to you, which nowadays T-shirts are about $68 a T-shirt. Okay. Let's do – I saw a super chat that came in that I want to shout out. Our guy, the Fro, $20 super chat. Fellas, I wanted to say thanks for tweeting the video of my son – and his soccer team doing the Ben Johnson good, better, best chant, and even featuring it on Hogan Jahns. My son was so pumped. Forever a diehard. Love you, boys. Well, the Fro, we're not going to let Hogan Jahns trump us. We're going to play it here, too, because this was incredibly cool. It shows that the Bears are resonating with the youth of America. So here you go. Flag footballers, right? Is that what we're dealing with here? I think the Fro. I hope I have that right.
He said soccer in his super chat.
Oh, soccer.
In the super chat.
In the super chat. My bad, the Fro.
Yeah,
right.
you read.
Soccer. Right. I just had forgotten about this. And I wrote the Fro back at like 2 in the morning when I couldn't sleep and said thank you for this, the Fro. But this video is awesome. Here it is.
Repeat after me. Good, better, best. Good, better, best. Never let it rest. Never let it rest. Until good gets better. Until good gets better. And the better gets best. And the better gets best. 3, go 3. 1, 2, 3, Braves. That's a good one.
Now, first of all, that's awesome. Love seeing kids having fun out there playing sports, all the things. I'll be going to multiple soccer games this weekend, watching young Beckett and young Layla get out there and battle.
Yeah, shout out to the Fro.
Shout out to the Fro for bringing that to our attention. That was amazing. Fro, you're awesome, and congrats on the way you're supporting the young ones out there yourself. Really cool. So thank you. But I'm going to go a little too far with this one.
What are you going too far with?
Well, I'm going to go back into my childhood for you as we're in overtime here, Gregory.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, no.
Yep. And no, you're all right. It's okay. You're going to like this one, I think. And we're nowhere close to it yet. But in 1985, when the Chicago Bears were the greatest team to ever play football, they resonated with everyone. It wasn't just your footballers, your Robert Lees, your Dr. Truths, your Freebirds all coming in here.
Your Fros.
The Fros. It was moms and grandmas and soccer players and tennis players, and it was everywhere. And the fact that Ben Johnson, 5 games in, that has resonated enough on social media that the youth of America is doing it to celebrate victories is cool. That just shows that at bare minimum they are headed in the right direction. So you like that one, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought you were going to have like a visual presentation or something. I was waiting for something. Like
a visual of me in 85?
Yeah, normally you were you were setting it up, but I mean, I have a visual presentation I can bring to you.
Yeah.
And here it is. There he is. Ladies
good.
and gentlemen.
That's good.
It's not Halloween yet, but it here is at the CHGO Sports Studios. Mark Carman. Looking good, buddy.
What is everybody? I'm going to take that as a compliment. Steve Carell's looking good there. You don't like the shirt, for real?
I didn't say I didn't. It's a pretty popular scene from The Office. Yeah. They goof on him a little bit because it's a little tight. Yours is a little snug. Not as snug as Michael Scott's, but you got the matching Jordans on.
Yeah.
So,
Steven, I just sent you one more that we can do because you wanted a 1985 picture, and I got an 88er.
Oh, you got an 88er.
I got an 88er.
Okay.
Which is close, about as close as I could come on the fly here.
Yeah, I mean, typically you just have visuals for us. I mean, you infamously had one from the stall a couple weeks ago, and you just
was that good content?
Or when you were raking, who was it? Who were you raking when you were raking leaves in the front yard?
Harry Tynowitz?
Harry Tynowitz's
That was
yard.
way back in the day.
Yeah, you brought that to the show
I
once.
know you brought that to the show. You Googled that. And
Maybe
used
that's what it was.
You used
Yeah.
it against me.
Yeah. So, I do have another picture of you that I won't use against you. With the one
thanks.
with your beard. That one's good.
No, you could put up my rabbi photo if you want. Go ahead. That's fine. This one's better, though. You'll enjoy this.
All right. We're ready for it.
I'm not sure if have we shown this one on the show before, Steven? Do you know? Do you remember?
I don't remember seeing this one.
Okay.
You want to tell us what it is here?
I mean, this was.
Oh, no. I've never seen this.
This is truly when I was in my peak.
Wow.
And there you have it. That's 3 years after the Bears won the Super Bowl, or 2 years roughly. Picture day. Me and Mike. He used to wear the Kangol hat, so I got the Kangol hat.
Uh-huh.
I see, there's a weird.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so cool.
I was so afraid to touch him.
Was he signing autographs?
He signed. He did. Yeah. You went. You
Because,
went.
like, not like 10 years later, he wouldn't sign nothing, right? Because, like, it was.
Picture day went away.
Picture day went away.
They didn't need to do picture day to sell seats anymore. In '88, they had that thing was banked, that it was in there. They started selling out every game in '87. You could still get tickets.
That's
up
incredible.
until '87.
What a picture, man.
Yeah. I was they had 4 players out there for each run, and so like when you got your chance to walk out on the court, you got the 4 that were there. So Granville Waiters, names that people are not going to get except for the old hats here. Brad Sellers, Rory Sparrow, John Paxson, Mike Brown. I got pictures with all these guys. So I go through the run, and I get my 4 pictures. I'm happy, but no MJ. And I'm walking out, and I hear this huge roar. And I turn and I look, and here's Mike walking across the court. He's going to sit down. And young Carm just knew what to do. Mike Mandel was a ball boy that I knew. His dad was Erwin Mandel, who was the director of finance, and I knew Mandel because he was a year behind me at school. So I went over to him like, "Can you walk me back to the back of the line?" And so he did. He walked me to the back of the line, and I went through it again. And I was afraid that I didn't have enough Polaroids in the camera, that I was going to run out. So, like, I get up to Brad Sellers, who's here, and, like, Jordan's next. And it's my turn to take a picture with Brad. And I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if I have enough. I got to wait for Jordan. I didn't tell Sellers. I'm like, Brad, I already have one with you from the last year. So, Sellers to make the inbounds pass. He comes into Jordan. And
oh, my gosh.
So that's how that went down. I was like, yeah, certainly. It was a moment for me and Mike, Robert. And it was... Hoge watching out of nowhere knows that I'm not talking to the mic. And Steven told me, yes. Certainly, Hoge. Okay, I think Hoge put on the show so he could watch his Whiteboard Wasted to review it, because that's how much of a professional Hoge is. But that was 88,
That's
buddy.
pretty cool.
That was 88.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was hoping, like, as you were telling the story how Jordan came at the last minute, that's what Daryl Johnston was going to do to end the show. I get it. He's in, just like with what we talked about last week with Troy, in production meetings and stuff. They're in production meetings prepping for the game on Sunday. So I think he's
busy.
We should be able to talk to Daryl at some point, but not going to be here today, which is disappointing because honestly, and this is a very true statement, I'm not just saying it because he was going to come on the show, but when we talked to him at the Super Bowl, he's awesome. He's one of my favorite interviews we've ever done.
Yeah.
Ever. I just think he's very insightful, and I just think he's a really good football mind and a great conversationalist.
Steven, I sent you one more if we have time for it. I know you got to go. I know Steven's going to kill me, but I just want to do Brad right here before we get on out of here.
What do you want to do?
No, it sucks. It sucks that Moose didn't come on, but Moose is going to come on. He'll be back.
We'll get
him at a better time.
I just wanted him for all you fine people.
You put in a ton of effort.
Wanted him for all you fine people. Even Justin Baker, who's driving me insane today.
Justin Baker.
And Cornell Bryant, who wouldn't be quiet halfway through the show.
Cornell Bryant's the man.
And these people popping into the chat all of a sudden pretending like they're Briggs or Troy Aikman.
Okay, you need a day off, which we're going to give you tomorrow.
No, I got to produce Bulls tomorrow.
That doesn't count, at least for you as far as in front of everybody. But can we just do one more picture just to make me smile about myself? Because, eventually in overtime, the show just becomes about me. And there they all are. Look at my guy.
Wow.
Look at my guy, Granville. Granville, when I'm wearing the gray coat. Granville, you're pretty tall. It looks to me you're pretty short. That was that conversation. There's John Paxson when he was cool. That's the bruiser, Mike. That was the bruiser, Mike Brown, who was a poor man's Charles Oakley. 2 pictures with Granville. Got him multiple years. Granville was the man, worst center in the history of the NBA, but a good man. Ohio State Buckeyes saw him play against Northwestern. And there's my picture with Brad Sellers. Big C, I got Brad the year before. Or maybe it was the year after. I don't know. But I got him at some point.
I mean, honestly, I'm blown away. It's really cool.
I had all the Polaroids. They were laid out on the piano. Just that was like if my friends came over, you got to see them all. And then eventually they ended up somewhere that I still have.
I'm extremely jealous. I mean, that is...
It was a cool thing the Bulls did back then.
It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah.
I went to Michael Jordan's basketball camp, so I did get to take a picture with MJ, but... That's just such a more intimate moment you had there with the team.
I wouldn't call it. It wasn't necessarily intimate. Well, Gene Banks did pick me up. You don't remember Gene Banks, but Gene Banks was he was one of the starters in the 63-point game in Boston, and I wasn't exactly a big kid. He just lifted me up. That was
to
super
kind
nice.
Of segue to what you guys have later tonight, which is the Brick by Brick podcast.
What's coming up?
Based off of everything we've been talking about here in like the last 10 minutes, we do spend the first 10 minutes kind of with Lance and Jerry kind of talking about who their favorite players were growing up, jerseys they owned before that they wore of their favorite players before they became
that's fun,
players in the league, and it ended up like we hadn't even planned it. It ended up going to a pretty fun place and hearing some pretty cool stories about their childhoods as well. So that's kind of a good segue of where we'll be here later tonight at 6 p.m. Central. We also talk some trade ideas for the Bears coming up on the trade deadline 3 weeks away. We talk the blueprint of how to beat the New Orleans Saints, and we even help you make some money on our award-winning segment with Circa Sports, and that's Duh Bets.
I'm excited for the show. You always do a great job with it. And 6 o'clock tonight. If you are not a subscriber to CHGO Sports on YouTube, now's a great time to do it. It's free. Just hit the subscribe button as we make our way to 100,000. We already did the Die Hard shout-out on our overtime, so thank you. And to wrap it up here, Bryce, do you think that I should go orange sock on the daily now? Like I should just have a run of, I should buy 10 pairs of orange socks and just wear them? Steven's looking at me with the worst look he's ever given me, which is saying something.
You should just wear the same orange socks every day.
Yeah, no.
As the winning streak continues.
Yes, maybe so. Since we're back for pregame at 11 on Sunday. Hogan Jahns tomorrow. What time does that drop? I should know this.
12 p.m.
At noon?
Central.
At noon. Great. Hogan Jahns tomorrow at noon. And I sheepishly will give another shout-out for me. The way that I'm like the Bears. Mm-hmm. The Bears started out 0-2 this year, and they looked in the mirror, and Ben Johnson looked in the mirror. I started out the year 0-4 in the Midtown Tennis League.
Uh-oh.
And I looked in the mirror. And last week, crossed into the victory lane for the first time. Won the first set, lost the second set, won the 10-point tiebreaker, 10-2 in a rout. First win on the board. Now, did I rest on my laurels? Did I fall for the trap game?
You didn't.
With John Cooper coming in last night? No, I didn't. I didn't. That's right. I got in there. I got warmed up. I foam rolled. I got everything ready. And then we started out the match, and 2 games in, I was up 2-0. I hit one ball, and Cooper went to get it, and Cooper couldn't get it. And then Cooper said, I can't go any further. Just retired. Just couldn't go on. Mm-hmm. And me, old man Carm, just ready to go further. Mm-hmm. Now 2-4, buddy.
That's great.
2-4, Gregory. Me and the Bears. The Bears rebounded. I rebounded.
Happy for you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. You can now.
I'm going to just take a nap here while you finish this thing up.
Yeah, that'll do it. Bochan, let's not talk about Cooper's age. Don't worry about it. All right. On that note,
how old is Mr. Cooper? Bochan says.
To all of you, thank you, Nico. Torian's predicting a win. Q Harlan, also a win. Giggities. I could just keep talking to all of you, but it's time to end the show.
Oh, please.
Steven, phenomenal job today. Ho, great job with the whiteboard. Johnsy, fantastic. Gregory, you made some great efforts today. It just didn't work out for you. Completely distracted and just overrun and needs a nap. But I believe in you. It's going to be a great show tonight at 6, and you're going to do a phenomenal job producing Bulls tomorrow.
For some additional diehard content, Steven's going to film me throwing myself off this building after the show.
Which we all look forward to. But don't worry, he'll survive because, like all cockroaches, he will be back. Did I just call you a cockroach? I didn't mean that. You're my guy. Stay positive. You gave a great effort today. I appreciate you. We all appreciate you, and we love you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you at the tailgate. What time do you want me there on Sunday?
7 a.m.
7 a.m. I'll be there.
6:30.
I'll be there at 8:02. I'm an 8:02er. And we'll see you at 11 on Sunday. Go Bears. Come out to the tailgate and talk to Hoge and Jahns tomorrow at noon. Have a great one.